understand where we're going.
Speaking of the hospital, a situation that let me bring this to Andrews real fast. Let me give Andrews a little right here, 43 minutes. There's a situation that's going on in Andrews about dealing with a. So right now they have began the process of removing a building that was filled with asbestos that was there since March 7th. So we're here at May 15th, and they finally started this process of removing this building. But what they did when they started construction and they basically opened the building up, like partially demolished it, and then they were stopped by DHEC, which, and to me, I don't know, when they did that and disturbed it, they put the
asbestos in the air. They made it an aerosol now.
Okay, so what? Tell me about asbestos from a medical perspective, and what should people in that area be cautious of?
So anytime you're dealing with asbestos, the one thing you don't want it to do is to be released into the atmosphere. You have to control it because asbestos can become airborne and can be inhaled, and that's when you start hearing about all those problems, and you have to call Procter and Procter if you've been exposed to asbestos. Me personally, I have had an asbestos experience at the VA hospital in Coatesville, and what I can tell you is they seal it off. Everybody has hazmat suits on. They seal the building off. They have sealed dumpsters, sealed tunnels. I know some people see the tunnels that come out the window and goes into the sealed dumpster, and they have negative pressure air to pull the air out and clean it so it doesn't go out into the atmosphere. So just looking at the videos that I've seen, if it's asbestos in that building, it has now gone into the atmosphere. The site has not been contained, so it's nothing stopping scavengers or people needing supplies going in and taking the bricks, and these bricks are now contaminated.
People actually been taking the bricks, because that's the old basketball gym. That's my old high school basketball gym, and you have people going over there for sentimental value. And what would you say to those people who have those bricks in their houses?
You have to stop, because if those bricks have been exposed to asbestos, now you're bringing the asbestos to your house, your family is breathing it in, and now it can start to build up again. The levels are built up. Most people don't have negative pressure units in their house that's cleaning the air. Most people don't even have the proper filters or changing their filters regularly. So now you've introduced this asbestos, which your family is breathing in, and because it's not being filtered or cleaned out, it's just going to start multiplying. You're going to think of asbestos like a mold. And mold, if you don't clean it all up or get it, it continues to grow. And not only is it on surface, this is in the air. And it can cause severe cancers, deformities. It can cause birth defects. And we've all seen the commercials of the lawyers, trying
Absolutely.
to get money because long-term effects. And these effects, it can actually live in your body and be passed on to a fetus. It can actually cross the fetal membrane. So the asbestos is very serious. And the fact that they don't have this site contained is amazing. The fact that it's not gated in or guarded properly is amazing, because if people are stealing this, it's just going to spread, which makes the city of Andrews and whoever owned the building still responsible, because they did nothing to stop it.
Yeah, and
it's just having a proper protective gear. I see somebody in the audience saying that somebody works in a building with asbestos. I worked in a building with asbestos. They actually was cleaning asbestos on one side. We were working on the other side. But the thing is to have the proper clothing when you work in there, and to have the proper ventilation. So a lot of times when it's been determined that it's asbestos in the building, they'll put a negative pressure system in so that the air is not recycled. It's removed and then vacuumed. And when people are working with it, they just have to have the proper working gear on that is then disinfected and taken off and not left, and it doesn't leave with them. And that's when you see the whole hazmat suit. So nothing gets on their person that they can then take home or put in their car or take to the gas station.
Well, every wrong procedure that you can think of was followed in creating this situation. It is the amount of incompetence. First of all, the first crew that they sent to demolish the building weren't qualified to do that. It was just they had the equipment in the county. It wasn't a contractor. And what ended up happening was they destroyed a gas line that was active to a building that was vacant for over 10 years.
And they had
And
the gas line to a vacant building for 10 years.
yes, so somebody was paying a bill. Well, it's not somebody, the taxpayers of the county was paying that bill. But that's just this one incident is just a snapshot of the incompetence when it comes to the leadership in Georgetown County. Um, it's mind blowing, and
I just definitely, I think someone needs to bring it up because it's definitely a class action suit. Because the problem
yeah,
is exposure. The effects of exposure may not show its face for 10 to 20 years.
thank you. And
Problem.
so that's why it's that's why the push is on. And for all the citizens that's listening, somebody, if you're there, file a class action lawsuit. If you know of an attorney, if you have dealt with an attorney that will come down and listen to this case. I mean, just the facts, on the facts alone, the negligence is there for the county. So at least put in place, okay, if nothing happens, nothing happens. But I just yeah,
No, I
that's what.
definitely think it needs to be properly documented and stated because if there's going to be plausible deniability 10, 20 years from now when you have a rash of children born with one arm or three arms, or you see a large amount of people dying from cancer or having an abnormal amount of cancers. So if it's not properly documented and stated and brought to the attention now, then they're going to have the plausible deniability 10 or 20 years from now because the people who will be in those seats are children now. You
Yeah,
understand? Because they
absolutely.
don't.
And that's what I've documented it. I'm gonna send you some links, like, to just bring you up to speed on it, because it's and that's the main reason why I'm documenting, and I've been able to. Um, Fortunately, the folks in charge, they slow. I mean, I know they don't like me saying that kind of stuff, but I mean, it is what it is, to the
But if
point
you
where,
stay right, you don't have to get right. And before you start knocking down an old building and they know it's the possibility of a
oh,
huge
it fell into the criteria of the time frame. Plus, it was already confirmed, and then it had black mold in it also.
yeah, so they already knew the level
Yes,
of crew and that needed. So there's the negligence is already documented. It's just that
absolutely.
somebody putting it in motion from a citizen standpoint, and there
Hmm.
always has to be citizen zero, someone to get the ball rolling. A class
Hmm.
action suit is not a class action suit until you get a class of people. So
Hmm.
we have to get uh, someone to start it, and then because anybody within a certain amount of 100-mile
Two,
radius or anybody like I could have not been there, but then I came to your house and you had a brick. So now I am a part of this suit because I've been exposed through a
exposed.
party. So it definitely needs to get somebody needs to call Procter and Procter or Gamble and Gamble, whichever lawyer y'all got down there on the local television or radio station.
No, because they on there saying, "Have you ever exposed that mesothelioma?" And
Definitely so, but someone
uh,
needs to be case zero to get this going because it's definitely an issue. And I know you're documenting it, and I think sometimes people need to see it, like see
mhm,
what prior asbestos has done to people. Look at Camp Lejeune.
going through it right now, and that's
We're
affecting
dead.
a lot. Yeah.
So now they're like, it's a family member. So
Hmm.
now, as a family member, I have to give third party information about what my grandfather went through, what my father went through, or why I have disabilities is possibly because my father was exposed to bad water or whatever at Camp
Hmm.
Lejeune. Look how many years it's. So if we don't get it properly documented now, when it really falls apart, it's always harder to document secondary.
Absolutely.
So somebody has a brick and you've been exposed, you need to document it. If you have to ride by there to get to work every day because there's no other way for you to go, or that's the most convenient way,
I mean, listen, that place was running as when I was there filming. You had people out walking, getting exercise, and asbestos at the same time. But they were, and I mean, there was a kid. There was people. There's a less than 100 yards away from that building is a playground, jungle gym type deal.
Oh no, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Put up signs that playing here or running past here, you might possibly be at risk.
yeah.
There's
That came.
notifying the public.
That the asbestos sign came 2 months after, or a month and a half or something like that afterwards. Yeah, and so yeah, there's a yeah, Georgetown County. That's all I'll say on that one though. Again, hey, so I just seen Miss Alicia in the building. Let me shout out Kidogo Farms and what they've got going on here. Once again, that's going to be on May 25th, and that is a new beginning